Okay, here's part 2 of our Chapter 5 PowerPoint. And to continue from our first PowerPoint, we covered information about your outline, about the body of your outline. We are now looking at introduction, your introduction of your outline, and what you'll be speaking about in your introduction. So we create our body first, and then we put together our introduction and then conclusion. Now your introduction, and let me go back here so we don't get this confused. This is your introduction, and as you see here, there's 4 elements in your introduction. You always start with an attention getter, some type of device to gain the attention of your audience. Startling statement, a story, rhetorical questions. Very important to grab the attention of the folks in your classroom or in your arena. Think about it. You only have one time to make a good first impression. It's the same thing when you speak or when you present. That in that first 30 seconds, your audience is going to decide whether or not they're going to listen to you or turn you off. So it's important that you have some kind of great device. Then you want to talk about the relevance to the audience. This, in a sense, is your topic, okay? Why they should listen, and you want to clearly tell your audience what you will be speaking about, what your topic is. Today, I want to tell you about why global warming, or persuade you that global warming is killing our polar bears, okay? And in a sense, this is important for you to know about because the polar bear population is a very important population to our ecosystem, or whatever the relevance is. But you want to clearly tell us what you're speaking about. Credibility. Credibility comes from your research and or your experience. So, for instance, in your demonstration speech, you may not conduct research for that particular speech. Your demonstration informative, but it's based on your experience of doing whatever it is you're demonstrating in the past and being successful. So tell us about that. Tell us about that. Sometimes students will deliver, for instance, a demonstration speech on how to serve the fastest and most accurate tennis serve in the world, let's say. So you're going to give us the 5 steps on how to serve. And the credibility for that would be, perhaps maybe you would say, I was a #1 tennis player in high school. I've been playing tennis for over 20 years. Whatever it would be that would make your audience think, oh, okay, I'm going to listen to her because she's been there and done that, and this is information that I can use as the relevance, and she has good credibility. And in the preview of the speech is your central idea, okay? Again, what you will be speaking about in your body, okay? Your conclusion, you're going to have some type of summary statement. Again, you're reviewing those main points again of your body. The audience response statement, again, this is in a sense, thinking about your audience, how they can benefit from the information, and then some type of wow statement at the end. Join me for some football, as you see here, but something that kind of puts a punch at the end of your speech. And as your last words, your audience walks away and remembers this information. So summarize in your conclusion your main points again. The audience response statement, okay, a response in a sense that, why it's important to your audience to know this information, how they can use the information. If in a persuasive speech, you're going to be, definitely asking for that appeal, and we'll talk about that more, what you want them to believe or what you want them to do. And then a wow statement in a sense of relating it back to the topic, just as a good ending of your speech. Use correct outline format. Be consistent. I don't care what, if you use Roman numerals, numbers, but as long as they're consistent. In other words, your main points are very consistent. All Roman numerals, one main point to second main point. numbers. Your subpoints have at least 2 subdivisions. Sometimes in writing we say 3, but you have at least 2 subpoints that support your main point. And here's an example of using Roman numerals as first main point, capital letters, and then numbers, and then lowercase letters. This is the standard type of outlining format. Main points should be balanced. Now, this is not 100% true. You know, you'll see in your persuasive speech that you can kind of put together your main points in the order of strength or importance, where, you know, if you're persuading, you want your second most important first, your middle last importance of appeal, and your persuasive, and the most important last. However, what your book is saying here is that, you know, you want them all to be important. You want them to be equal in importance. However, always remember, before you conclude, you want the most important, the one that you think is the strongest, before your conclusion, because that's going to make the difference in your appeal, or with your audience remembering the information that you are speaking about. And you see here the 3 main points as they support the specific purpose. Employee subordination. In other words, you see that you have a main point, and then you have your subpoints. And they have written this just as a way for you to see that you can have your subpoint could be within a sentence, and then you can divide it down into a subpoint in your outline. Excuse me. It's just another different technique. However, most of the time students come up with their main points and then brainstorm for their subpoints as they're doing the research and thinking about their speech. Plan out formal links, okay? Transitions in between the main points of your speech. Your text calls them links, okay? This link here, as you see, is bridging this main point to the next main point. And they're using the technique of review and preview. In other words, a brief review of what you just spoke about, and then a preview of what you will be speaking about. Again, a good effective transition will use a review and then a preview. Now that we've had the formation of the National Football League established, let's look at the structure. So again, think about it. Your audience is listening to you. Maybe you're tuning me out right now, but you know, we only usually listen 25% of the time. So it's important that we repeat information. You'll see a lot of repetition in your speeches. So a review and a preview is just another great technique to remind your audience what you spoke about and where you will be going. You're a tour guide. Using transitions helps you bridge your information within your speech. So transitions, very important. Well, let's go on to this next PowerPoint. We'll come back to transitions here. Citations, we're using MLA, okay? And you can cite them by giving us the name of the author, as you see here in your outline, because you know you're going to be citing that at that time, okay? Or you can incorporate the citation within your text as you will be saying it when you're speaking. So a couple ways of doing this is that you can just cite it with the author's name, okay, maybe the page number too, and then you, in your outline or on your note cards, you're going to have the actual citation. Here you can incorporate it right in your text. So 2 ways. Different types of outlines. The working outline, we generally do not use a working outline. I do not recommend that you use a working outline. Working outlines are for a quick put together speech. What we will be using and what I'd like you to see you use is a preparation outline, a longer, more detailed outline, okay? And then also you can use the delivery outline. Personally, the delivery outline then helps you, then you can use that information and incorporate that on your note cards. But either or, and you see the difference here between the preparation. Most students use preparation and then take what they want from the outline onto their note cards. Okay, what you can use to link your speech parts together. And these are different types of, let's go back here, transitions. For instance, they have viewpoint transitions, change, these are the most typical type of transitions. However, I want to encourage you to use the review and the preview type of transitions in your speech. A lot of times when we use these viewpoint transitions, one-word transitions, your audience does not catch the fact that you are moving to another point. So it's important that you tell us the review and the preview just briefly, very briefly, to give us that connectiveness between your points. Concluding transitions work really well when you're going into your conclusion. That's one time when you can say in conclusion, because you're going to give us a summary of those main points again. It's important to give us your signposts, and that's another way to offer transitions, or tell us what you will be speaking about in your thesis or central idea, first, second, and third. So you can give us your transition and then say, okay, and then my second point here, and my third point, or my first reason, my second reason. Internal previews you can use in your speech, and it tells the audience what will be covered next in the speech. So this is just another way of transitioning. Again, I do want to emphasize the importance of reviews and previews. Internal reviews, again, this works really well in your conclusion. Okay, it tells us what you've covered in your speech. I'll be listening for that summary of those points of your speech, of your main body. And that will, and they call it an internal review, excuse me. But that's your summary in your conclusion. It's the same difference. So it's a mini conclusion, and it summarizes what you've covered in your speech. Now you can make that distinction in your speech and your speech giving. If you feel you need to review or give an internal review within the main body of your speech, you can do that. Again, always put yourself in your audience's shoes. Citing sources, you cite within the outline and at the end in a source page, or again, you can just add it at the end of your outline. You can incorporate your citations in the text or use parentheses. So let's see here, parenthetical citations at the end of a sentence. And let's see if they give us a good example here. Yes. Okay, we're using MLA, okay? And you see here that you give the author and the page number. Or you could put it within the text. Going back here, in text citations, in this one here, in your outline, and then you could then transform that information onto note cards. So it's your choice what works better. Again, either just the author and the page number, or you can actually write out the in-text citation. How do you create a source page? As you know, you have your LibGuide that gives you good information on how to put together your MLA style format. You have also the access of the librarians of the Learning Center, but the LibGuide gives you everything online that you need to know. So here's references as they would be listed. They are listed in alphabetical order in MLA style format, and you can see how this works for you in your LibGuide or MLA style handbook. Okay, that concludes our PowerPoint on outlining. Please, again, if you have any questions, see me, talk to me.